to our podcast, One Human Society. In this podcast, we explore diverse perspectives and philosophies that motivate us to build a healthy and harmonious human society where both the people and the planet thrive. My name is Sri Raksha Mohan.
And I'm Ricky Peterson. We're going to be your co-host for many of these future episodes of One Human Society. And together, we're going to be exploring a really important topic called neohumanism.
Neohumanism is this expansive and deeply universal outlook. It invites us to expand our circle of love, care, and compassion to include not only human beings, but also animals, planets, and even the inanimate world. All are fellow beings, are fellow travelers in this journey of life and in the universe.
Absolutely. I love that analogy of being a fellow traveler on a journey moving together. And it's truly what neohumanism is rooted in, this understanding that everything that we see and can't see, creatures, atoms, are all expressions of consciousness. And neohumanism is really giving us the techniques and the tools on how to actually reconnect with the sacredness of all the life that we see around us.
Right. So when we talk about every atom is an expression of the consciousness or the divine or the sacredness of life, it may sound vague, but it is a reminder that all life is interconnected. All life comes from one source and takes different forms. We share a kinship with all life forms in the planet. There are no isolated systems when it comes to how we live our lives on this planet and how we need to work together. It's a dynamic web of life. So this book, The Liberation of Intellect, Neohumanism by P.R. Sarkar, discusses this idea in depth as a response to narrow sentiments that is dividing us, such as nationalism, racism, speciesism, sexism. Some of these sentiments are classified as geosentiments and socio-sentiments. So neohumanism helps us identify these sentiments and go beyond them.
It's a really good point you made, because you talked about there's this theoretical kind of worldview that we talk about that can seem kind of ethereal. But then you just mentioned also there's some very specific concrete sentiments that we can all personally relate to in our everyday lives that are a part of understanding the impact of neohumanism, like geosentiment, for example. That's where one feels a really strong attachment and love for a geographic area. For example, I live in Marshall. I have a sense of connection with it. But that particular feeling or sentiment, when it goes to the extreme of like excluding other people, that's where the problem comes. We have different sentiments like social sentiment. You were mentioning where someone is over-identified or has a deep love and attachment for their particular group. For example, I'm an alumni of a particular university, or my particular ethnicity, or my particular class, or my particular religion. All these sentiments are really detrimental when they're expressed at the expense of other people.
You made some great points, Rishi. Sentiments are a part of life. There is no escaping sentiments, right? But neohumanism is urging us to pay attention to how divisive these sentiments can be. Neohumanism is not blindly critiquing these sentiments. We need to accept the sentiments that are as natural part of life, but also evolve beyond these sentiments and these tendencies that causes division in society to create a more equitable society. We need to remember that sentiments alone can become a blind force, but sentiments supported by rationality can manifest as a positive force to build a better world. Think of all the social movements and all the great call to action and all the great changes that happened in our society and around the world. These were driven by sentiments, but sentiments which were benevolent and driven by the rationalistic mentality of creating welfare for everybody. So neohumanism urges us to develop this rationalistic mentality. At the core of neohumanism is this idea called Sama Samaja Tattva. This is a Sanskrit phrase which means principle of social equality based on a spiritual view of reality that we all share the same divinity. We come from the same source.
Yeah, I really love this Samaj Tattva because it's not something that you hear every day. Most people are saying we're all equal, even though we come from different backgrounds and we have different upbringings. And there's this sense, well, how are we all equal? And Samaj Tattva really helps us to see that the dignity that we all should feel and express is universal. It's not based on our race. It's not based on our species or how much money we have. It's a very subtle idea that guides our action that says at the core of all of our being is this consciousness, this divine consciousness. And that is the level on which we are all equal.
Yeah, so to me, this is a very profound idea because, on the one hand, we are saying, yes, there is diversity of expression. We're all different. These differences are mostly superficial, differences of nationality or color or race. But at our innermost core, we are all the same. We are all the expression of the same um, consciousness or the same divinity or the same divine being. We are the expression of the same that same entity. And so, however you look at it, whatever your spiritual leanings are, we come to the conclusion that at the innermost core, we are the same. So we all have the same desire as humans and aspirations to live a good life, be happy, help each other, and grow. So this philosophy of neo-humanism goes beyond theory. It gives us a path to live with a sense of deeper purpose. And it helps us understand why so many systems in society today, be it economic, social, political, educational, and even spiritual systems, are leaving people feeling fragmented and disconnected.
Yeah, it's, if you look on the news, you're seeing mental health crises as well, people committing suicide and so much depression and stress. And we ask ourselves, where does all this come from? Why is there such a disconnect in people's lives? And it's really the lack of a proper outlook that helps us to bring that inner rhythm, that inner sense of connection in relation to the world around us. So I'm really excited about going more into this neo-humanism because I feel it has so much to offer. And we're going to go deep diving into many of the different principles of neo-humanism.
Right. So you were talking about, you know, building inner rhythm,
Okay.
making sure that the rhythm of our minds are in harmony with the world around us and all of this. All of this starts with a philosophy that encourages to look inwards and at the same time establish a balance in the outside world. And that is why we need a holistic philosophy like neo-humanism that is both personal and collective, that is both spiritual and practical.
Mm.
And this could help bring a balance to the world around us. And this vision is a call to action and to love. Neo-humanism expands our mind with this vision. It broadens our horizons and worldviews. And to act upon this worldview is also equally important. And this is why P.R. Sarkar gave this comprehensive socio-economic theory called the progressive utilization theory, or PROUT. This offers a framework or a model to implement the ideals of neo-humanism. So it is important to embrace neo-humanism and also act upon it to create a better world around us.
Yeah, I think that that's really going to make this podcast so unique is we're not just going to talk theory, but we're going to talk about how do we implement that in our daily lives and all the different areas. We're going to look at education, ecology, economics, leadership, the arts. Every aspect of human exploration has an opportunity for expanding the way in which we connect with the world around us. So we're really excited to launch this podcast and have you be a part of this community.
Yeah, I'm excited too. So in the future episodes, we'll explore a lot of the details we spoke about in depth. This was just scratching the surface of neo-humanism and Prout, but we'll do deep dives into a lot of very interesting topics. So thanks for joining us today for the first episode of One Human Society. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and also sign up for the monthly newsletter.
And we do want this to be interactive. So we want to engage with you and hear your stories and some of the challenges that you're going through in your personal lives. Because I think we want this to be deeply relevant for us at a time that we all need something to, a bright and shining light for the future. So definitely engage with us, leave your comments, and we're really looking forward to seeing you again on our podcast, One Human Society. Until next time,
Thank you.
thank you.